Well, you've asked me what I practice, and the answer to that question is that I do injury and fatality work, mostly for plaintiffs. And I think it chose me as much as I chose it. I came out of law school simply wanting to be able to help people, and in particular the underdogs, and personal injury law lends itself very well to that kind of work. Well, what I like the most is helping people. I think that's really what I'm good at. And I like to help people who really don't have a chance on their own. The insurance industry is complicated. They're well funded. They're experienced at dealing with these cases. The system of law that we have that relates to injury cases in Ontario is complicated and becoming more so all the time. And so I really enjoy interceding, if you will, between somebody who's been hurt at the beginning of their recovery and helping them get through that process as smoothly as possible and to get the best result that's possible. And at the end of the case, knowing that I made a real difference for that person or their family. Well, I think the temptation to answer a question about what the pinnacle of my career so far has been is to talk about settlements or large cases that I've been a part of. And I've been very fortunate to have some of those. But the truth is for me that I keep a binder in my office, and every time I get a thank you note or a card from a client who says, "I really appreciated your help," I file that away, and it means a lot to me. And those cases are sometimes big and they're sometimes small. And when things are a bit of a grind, I get that binder out and have a look at it just to remind myself why I'm doing this. The truth is that I probably wouldn't be receiving this award if I didn't have a great mentor myself. And for the young lawyers that may be watching this, a mentor is somebody more than a person who simply gives you work or who acts as a sort of administrative boss within your firm. A mentor is a teacher, a supporter, a critic, a friend, a confidant. And when I started practicing law, I said to my mentor, "Do you have an expectation of what I should contribute financially this year?" And his answer was, "I have no expectations of you financially for 2 years. My only expectation is that you follow me around and you soak up as much as you can. And once we've done that, then we can talk about dollars and cents." And so I like to think that that has proven to work in my case. I'm much better as a lawyer for having had that opportunity. And I think my firm is to be complimented for being willing to make that kind of upfront investment. And I think it's paid off for them too. It's too bad that there aren't more of those mentoring stories out there. And I suspect that if you were to ask the 40 recipients of this year's award what we all have in common, it's probably that even though we come from different areas, different cities, different size firms, we all have been well mentored by somebody experienced and senior. Well, they don't teach history of the profession in law school, and if they did, what students would learn is that lawyers have a long, long history of helping people who are disadvantaged, who are of very little means, and doing so on a completely pro bono basis. It's a proud tradition within our profession. I recently was asked to help a family who were the adult children of a woman whose husband was a World War II veteran and who died of a complication from his service. At the time of his death, the government ought to have paid a certain pension rate to the widow, which it didn't do. And the adult children had tried and tried and tried on their own to get the government to pay what ought to be paid. And in desperation or exacerbation, they came and asked me for some help. And I was able to deal with the federal government directly and ultimately get a settlement for this widow, which was approaching $500,000 of retroactive pension payments that really ought to have been made to her, as well as an apology from the minister in charge. And so that was a very satisfying moment because it's a lot of money. It was an emotionally rewarding experience for that family and for me. And as I say, it's part of the tradition that we enjoy as lawyers, and we all ought to do it.